medium ones, they do not have a strategy in place, or they may not realize the importance of strategy. But what makes strategy important for a business, and how does it help a business to grow by having the right strategy in place?
Yeah. So, so one of the things that often my granddad used to point out to me is to take me to the river. eh? We used to have Kaveri flowing on the side of our village. Yeah, a branch of Kaveri. So, and you tell us, they said, why do you think the river is intact? See, they're building a dam there. It will stop the river from coming here, but why do you think it still flows?
Right.
And I said, because there is a lot of water. And he turned back and told me that, yeah, but there's a lot of water everywhere when things start. He says it flows because of the banks. The
Right.
banks allows it to have the power, strength, everything, and reach a destination.
Right.
So it allows you. So in a sense, I often have wondered about what is strategy and what is not. So the quote which says, if you don't know where you are going, you will get nowhere. Yeah. So I mean, maybe that's an amended quote from me, but something like that. So you have to kind of have those thoughts in your mind. So therefore, whether it is small or big doesn't matter. Just as a individual human being, what do you ask your daughter or son when you what will you become when you grow up?
Right.
What do you want to become? So what are we asking them? Saying, define your vision, define your strategy. Yeah. Okay. So in as small a person as that. So if it's applicable for a 5-year daughter or a 5-year son, why is it not applicable to business? So in a sense, anybody who doesn't have it eventually will feel that he's not sure what it is that he's trying to hit. Okay. So important to set your vision, important to set a direction, important to kind of think about what is important to you. When there is a small or medium organization, and let's say they're not so much business is not about making money, but making a difference.
Right.
So then that could be the strategy, making a difference. Yeah. Or if you talk about Padman, the biggest thing that may not do is earn profit, but he's created a business and a community impact like no other.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yes.
So
Yeah.
I'll stop here. Otherwise, I can keep going for next one hour.
Sure. Yeah. Making a difference sounds like really very impactful. Yes. Thanks for that. So, given the VUCA world and the related uncertainties, how can a business plan its strategy? Because there's nothing really certain, right? And what would be the good basis for developing such a strategy given the uncertain times?
Okay. So very, very important thing to think about. So first is that what do you have to think about, like you said, what does VUCA mean? That because of climate change or experiential commerce, business models are going to change. Yeah. What is a company which is erstwhile a bank is a bank, and an insurance company is an insurance company, and a consumer company is a consumer company. Now e-commerce has changed all the three into one. Or it could become anyone. Amazon is a bank or an insurance company, or is he a consumer company? I mean, it's very difficult to distinguish nowadays.
Correct.
So it's important to recognize and therefore have you build a nice company, which is new normal, and build an innovative company which takes into account that climate change and experiential commerce is going to change all industries. So as you go in, think of the opportunity it gives you, think of the risk it gives you, but more importantly, think about the uncertainty that exists, the volatility that exists, and therefore if you build anything which can withstand it, just an analogy is going into the sea. The boat which works in river may not work in sea.
Yes.
Because the volatility changes dramatically, the uncertainty changes dramatically, the fishes which will be much larger like sharks and whales, which may not be there in river. So you have to build both in order to do. A strategy is this strategy which you're building, it should withstand you in that sea. So build a boat built a ship for the sea. So that's the first part, what you should build. So it's an acronym, okay, but so nice. So build a nice world for yourself, and you should be okay in this world. Second one is, what are the elements that should be there, yeah, in the new world. So I keep telling there are 5 things that you should have, elements that you should build in. Think about platform, because no more it is easier just to think about physical aspect. I'll put a kirana shop and sell. Not clear. You should think about platform. You should think about financing. How does financing work in the whole thing? And the financing is not just your working capital. That's important. The capital, that's important. But also, how will customer consume it? Because today is an installment world. So financing has to become a much bigger part of anything that you do. Third is think about societal pull. So I mean, in the new e-commerce version, or in the what I said as experiential commerce, many of your experience is coming from Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter. Societal pull is going to define your success and failure. So build the factor of societal pull into that whole thing. Fourth thing is think about skill. Yeah. So if you're subskill, sometimes you fail when you should have succeeded handsomely. So think about scale. So it does not mean that everybody has to be a Reliance. No. Reliance always thinks big, right? I am always believe that fire bullets before firing cannonballs. So you can still fire bullets, but think about scale, that minimum I have to sell so much to break even, because I can subdivide the workers, but I can't subdivide me, right? If I'm going to invest time, effort on this, I need minimum such scale in order to do it. And I'm kind of thinking this from a smallest entrepreneur, who today is small, who can become bigger than me tomorrow, yeah, and bigger than many of us tomorrow. So think about scale. And the last but most important is think about customer experience. So which is why experiential commerce. So if you put these 5: platform, financing, societal pull, scale, and customer experience. And financing takes including what is your thing, and put your objectives, put how you're going to achieve, put where are you going to get these things from, and how. So you'll build a moat, which you'll find it is good to operate on this, because the success rate goes up that much. Okay. So right now I was doing some thesis on how M&As can be more successful. So I put it saying, if you do all these things, from a 50%, a 30% success rate today, your success rate can go up to 70%. This is like that. Strategy is like this. The element that I'm suggesting is like this. If you build these things, you're thought through some of the problems you're going to have. If you are already researched about volatility, if you are already saying volatility is there to stay, I have to manage. That mindset itself would, make your success rate go up 20-30%. Yeah. So this is what. Okay. So, but once you start, you build about four things that you build. Build for survival first, build for safety next, build supply chain third, and build for stability fourth. So 4 S's.
4 S, yeah.
What, and how.
Right.
You always will get this from me. And the fifth one is system agility, but that will come later. Yeah.
Okay. Amazing. I loved particularly the financial stability and the customer experience. Of course, all of them were very vital, but these especially, and of course the 4S acronym was also amazing. Right. So what is the link between strategy and the financial performance? Or rather, how can the financial performance be increased because of having a good strategy in place?
Okay. So I was in Xerox. I worked there for 15 long years, right? So we were all looking at our thing, 72% market share at one point of time, okay, in India. And our margins were very big because we are operating on global standards on margin, right? But the net profit was very small. And we often used to wonder that we dominate this industry. Why is our money so low? And I never could kind of put my hands at that point of time. I was junior also. I was growing up, trying to understand. Okay. And then I've seen, even as I last 6 years, as I said, I've seen 21 industries going through this motion on this. And I always find this problem that, there are decent things happening, but the profit is not that good.
Right.
Okay, so I divided companies that I see into two parts. Okay, so, and I tell people that you reap what you sow. So basically, first is if Xerox, in Xerox, we always talked about anybody who came back from field, we asked them, kitna order laya? So what is the big thing that the guy is going to say? I have to bring an order, whatever it costs, whatever costs. And the moment that is the strategy of yours, the consequence will be that kind of thing. So first is you got to make strategy which is robust, and that will allow you to do. So any company which has, when you know where you are going, obviously you're going to reach, probability of reaching there is much higher. Therefore, if you say I'm going to reach a place where I want a 10,000 crore revenue or 1,000 crore revenue with 100 crore profit, so you are going to get somewhere closer to that, right? So then rather than somebody says dekhenge kya hota hai, then you will get what you get, but it will not be so anybody who makes strategy will have better finance. But I'm asking a more fundamental question, that whenever you are talking about this, you should set goals. And you should set the right goals in order for financial performance to be done. So when you pick that, if you don't have a financial performance, you should ask, what do you exist for? Then put purpose. Then be a padman. At least then you will achieve what you set out for. Yeah, be a CSR organization, be water.org. Then you can say, okay, I as long as I give water to everybody, I'm a great person. Yeah, okay. So I break company, so I don't need worry about profit. So financial performance is contingent on strategy, and good financial performance is contingent on good strategy. Okay, and good strategy I'm defining, which defines customer experience at the center, but financial performance at its core.
Right.
That's the reason of business existence. Right. So you should not forget, you will not get there without customer experience. But your major thing is, I'm in the business to make money for my stakeholders, not for me alone. Mm-hmm. So if that answers part of what you asked.
Absolutely, yeah. So I love what you said. You sow what you reap what you sow, and I always say that's the business karma, because what goes around comes around. Yes.
Correct. And one of the things that you said reminded me. We actually had at one point sit down and said, don't ask them how many orders you got. Ask how much money did you make today for the company. Yes. This one question changed the whole paradigm.
Yes.
Okay, and we have this joke. I have this joke because I do many couplets in Hindi. There are two kinds of business. Top line hota abhi abhi, profit hota kabhi kabhi.
Yeah.
So, and the other one which says bottom line hota abhi abhi, sab kuch aayega uske piche. So that I had a coin which is not coming readily. So, right. But to say that if you focus on it, others have to come. You can't have bottom line without top line.
True.
But you can have a top line without bottom line.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Very right.
This week.
Yes. Right.
Yeah.
So a few businesses, they have a chief strategy officer, but not all businesses, or, they may not have a specific team that is handling the strategy. So in absence of such a team in an organization, with whom does the onus of strategy lie?
Yeah, I have often wondered about this question, because I'll give you my own story. Okay, I don't know whether you are only recording the voice, so I suppose I should be okay.
I'm recording the video also, but no worries. Yeah.
Yeah. So it will also then tell people that I'm being mobile, not fixed. Okay. So one of the key things that you have to keep in mind. So when I was asking myself this question, so I came to M&M. I joined, and there was no strategy officer in Tractor. So I joined. And I said, can I do business planning? He said, why? Because he said, no, business planning is very important. How do you get budget, etc. So let's, and then He says, but budget, how do we make without making strategy? Can we just kind of put a business plan for 3 years and that strategy, I didn't try to do. And I took over that strategy. And then I keep wondering that why did I do that? Because it's kind of logical extension from being a controller to making a budget, to making a business plan, to making a strategy. Okay. So, but what is obvious is not so obvious
Mm.
is the leap from making a long-term business plan to making a strategy. So there you mean it. So I would put that the CFO is de facto and de jure
Mm.
a good person to have a strategy head, because if the new 5-star CFO I used to define was value creating CFO, and value creating CFO partner, engender for the organization. Yeah, I said CFOs have 3 roles: enable, enhance, engender. And engender is what you create new business model, you help the business. So when you do engender, you're actually strategizing to take the business to the next orbit. So they are logical, but not everywhere. CEOs generally end up having that role wherever strategy is not there. And there is this big chasm called strategy,
Mm.
which between strategy and long-term plan. So the CFO will say, "Ha, tum pehle strategy bana lo, I'll come and put the business plan."
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, because mindset wise, but it is very easy to bridge that chasm because it is logical thinking. Okay, whatever comes in rupee and Excel sheets are common denominator of what is strategy. You instill that into a common denominator, so they are very logically done. So I found in various functions, various people take lead role, but if more and more CFOs are becoming CEOs, then last time when Tata Group got his new chairman, TCS got his new CEO who was a CFO, right? So I'm seeing more and more this happening across it, and apparent person which is kind of the CFO. So they are being good strategists, right? Which is why that's happening. So okay. So I want CFO finance to take pole position, but it can come, if that role is paid with a CII guy or tomorrow IT guy, they may become the strategists of the, defect. But finance guys have the logic, or CFO has the option of becoming de facto and de jure CFO.
Right. Sure. Got it. Awesome. Right. So the success of strategy lies on implementation. So what is the best way to implement a strategy that has all been formulated? How can the one execute it impeccably?
Yeah. So often what happens is there is a 3 big thing. I have to have, as a leader, a roadmap in my head. That's the most important thing. If I don't have, I don't know where I'm going, right? The second one is to have set of people, leadership team, which passionately believes in it. Yeah. And the third aspect is, how do you communicate to rank and file? And not just communicate, but link what they do to what I want or what the company wants. So if we do these 3 aspects, then your implementation becomes very clearly and easy to do. Okay. I will use quality jargon to describe these things now.
Yes, sure.
Okay. Okay. And then we can say without the jargon also it will work. But I'm a Deming guy. I helped Mahindra tractors and was part of the journey when they went from being an Indian company to being a global MNC with Japan gold, Japan gold medal, and before that having Deming Award. Yeah. So that journey. So I'm more, therefore, little partial to that process. Okay. So first thing is have a policy in your mind. So that's the first thing. What's a policy? Where the head of the organization says, I want to achieve these things. And therefore you force yourself to think, what is the vision? What do I stand for? I call it mission. Okay. What do I stand for? That doesn't change every year. Every 10 years also it doesn't change. Okay. Like Mahindra had something which they said which didn't change for a very long time. Indians are second to none, and we'll prove it by doing all those things. Okay. Today when we become global, we need not say, then maybe we can replace Indians to Mahindra
Right. Yes. Yeah.
and say Mahindra are second to none. Yeah.
Sure.
So, but it holds for a very long time. It is giving the pride in the work that you carry. So that's mission. But you have a vision. The tractor had a vision to become the global tractor, number one tractor company in the world by 2025. Yeah. So, and then you can carry on and do whatever stuff you do. Okay. So that's important. Then you have to set out objectives, saying if you want to achieve. So like we said, okay, we want to be world number one. So what should we do this year? What kind of top line? What kind of bottom line? What kind of cash flow? What my stakeholders want, you put that out. And that's the second part. So strategy, you now distilled into saying, this is a milestone I have to do this year. That's the policy. So policy deployment comes. The next one is the moment you kind of do policy, the next aspect is how do I deploy this? So you have leadership where you work with and say, I can do with the current manpower so much, but if you want this done, I need new resource, new skills, new things. So there is a catch fall which happens. And then it goes on and on down the organization. So that the whole process which happens, then you ask what a guy at the bottom does. A guy at the bottom, an area manager will say, I will do 100 vehicles and I'll make 1 crore profit. And my customer satisfaction will be 90%. And my employee satisfaction will be 4 out of 5. Okay. So this is the target. And then you roll that up for the organization. And the organization says, I want 1,000 crore revenue. And I want the other 3 aspects, employee sat, customer sat, yeah, ROE. So I always say simple life, if you have to remember satisfaction. Think of employees, think of your stakeholders, which is, yeah, this one, and think of your customers. Yeah. So you go there and the fourth one will come. So you put this, so it rolls up. So now what you have is congruence. You know, if that guy achieves 1 crore, you will achieve your 1,000 crore. If he doesn't achieve one, you will not achieve it.
Yes.
Yeah? So, okay. So let 1,000 lamps light, they say, na, that's the 1 crore lamps you have to light in order to make that. Okay. So then the next one is, there is something which is at the top, which is policy. And then there's a daily work management, which is at the bottom. What you have to do on a day-to-day basis to do. It is, if you take the same sea analogy and a ship or a boat, then to pick out water and throw water seeped in, to row in tandem, to set the sails in the newer version, boiler room and things like that. So you can do, those are the kind of things they have to do day in, day out. So daily work management. Yeah. Then after the, in between, you have to do a PDCA. Think, check, do what is that? What is the new thing which is coming? If it's not happening, you're doing something wrong. So then trim the sails. Yeah. And then do. So then, and then use philosophies which suit you. The philosophy which suit me is nail it before you scale it. So I don't allow anything, just go and implement, and I'll spend, it has worked in Siemens, so it will work here. No. So nail it, show me it works for me, then it's there. And second is fire bullets before firing cannonball. This I've used all the time. So if you do the strategy implementation, if you do these kind of methodical things, then you do. So now if I take out the jargon, what did I say? Put down very concretely what out of the strategy implementation needs to be done. Agree that with your leadership team. Third is cascade it down the entire thing, so everyone knows what they have to do in order for you to achieve. Okay. Then don't leave it still. Tell them what they will do on a routine basis, day to day, daily, and how they will improve on an ongoing basis. Provide for course correction, provide for volatility, provide for the VUCA world, and then use some philosophies which suits you, like nail and fire.
Yes. Yeah, in fact, I loved nail it before you scale it. That is really nice. That is like caught on very well. Right. So what role does strategy play when handling unexpected business challenges? Like the current times, probably.
So it's a very interesting question. So strategy assumes you want to go somewhere, yeah, and this is what you want to achieve, right? For your, depending on what is your strategy. Yeah, but you know you have a set of stakeholders, you have a customer, yeah, and you could use my 5 theories, right?
Yeah.
Platform, scale, etc. So if you cover the elements, you should be there. But now the question is, what if VUCA, suddenly pandemic comes? Suddenly you are told that tomorrow onwards business is zero.
Yes.
Now how do you dust and wake it?
Correct.
So it's a very important question, that strategy, if it's rigid, is going to really be a problematic one. So if you look at, I keep saying that earlier a book which was written as Built to Last, and I really love that book. Okay, now if I have to write, I have to change it to Adapt to Last.
Yes.
Yeah, you have to keep adapting in order to last. But if you have to kind of look at those companies which have survived, every time there is an S curve, they were able to adapt.
Mm.
So what is that companies are which others didn't have? Others had rigidity in their strategy. These people had flexibility in the strategy, and strategy was not that come what may, not like Kodak. Digital cameras don't figure in my strategy. Digital, yeah. So we can say that every time you make a strategy, please make sure digital do, is part of your is figure. Digital camera figures in a strategy. So
True.
just if somebody has to keep reminding. So be flexible. Good strategy should provide for the sixth sixth sense
Mm.
to come in. What could, if anything goes wrong. And last but not least, but at least have the course correction mechanism that comes not just with strategy, with ability to stop and say, okay, this happened.
Mm.
Yeah. But how do we course correct?
Right. Right. Yes.
Okay. So did I answer anything?
Yes. Yes.
Any
You
point you
did.
want
I
to
think
bring in? Because, yeah.
yes. No, the course correction is something so important because a lot of people tend to just hold on to it or, don't think otherwise. Probably it is good to let go and then start afresh or think differently. So I think that is a very, very nice point that you said.
Yeah. Yeah. So the good points, if you don't mind, I just digress a little bit.
Yeah.
I have my learning told me that there is not two statements that people make, that they say strategy is important, implementation is more important. Decent strategy, well implemented, is X% more better than in good strategy is not implemented well.
Right.
I think there is a third element which they are all forgetting.
Mm.
And I have always said good success of every business is about three things: is about strategy, is about implementation, is about tenacity.
Mm.
So sometimes if you don't give enough time, the tree will not grow.
Right. Right.
Okay, so it is important for you to bring that together. So my suggestion was that you need to build that tenacity as not stubborn,
Mm.
but stick with that thing. And when you see that it's changing, go back and change. That PDCA is a very important thing.
Right. Right.
But I would now say strategy, implementation, tenacity, adaptability.
Wow.
So 4 elements of a successful business.
Right. Awesome. Awesome. Yeah, that's very, very valid. Yes. So, how can strategy help with innovation and research and development?
Okay. Um, so many times, let me just do this. When you have strategy, and let's say an automobile company wants to have a dream car, yeah, as a strategy, which every guy, let's say every sustainable car will every Indian wants to own. Is that my dream? Okay, or my vision? Now, if I'm building that, how am I going to build this? I need innovation, and innovation in design, innovation in this, innovation in technology. Everything has to come together in order to.
Correct. Yeah.
So the moment my strategy is that, it brings innovation into focus. then depending on whether it's a prime mover or parallel pillar, because all businesses need innovation. Every strategy needs innovation.
Correct.
Some more than others, but everyone, like, right? An engineering company will need more engineering innovation. A financial company may not more business model innovation. Yeah, but there will be process, product, and business model. These is what I call three types that innovation is required. So, how does it help in innovation? It makes the innovation focused. Otherwise, what do you do? Use the innovation for. Innovation is for a product or for a process or business model. The key thing is strategy will help create a culture of innovation. Okay, Mahindra, put a strategy into 3 words: accept no limit, alternate thinking, driving positive change. What does this mean? This means please be innovative. Don't accept one answer. Alternate think. Yeah, don't accept this is what is limiting. So you're asking innovation to bring it in culture. Okay, and the last part is research and development and innovation are kind of, that is you very scientifically look for innovations and building new things is innovation. So I think what I said for innovation applies to R&D much more deeply. You have to create a culture. You have to do strategy enables both innovation and research and development to do, but culture makes it sustainable. Right. And strategy which doesn't think about this culture aspect is not flexible enough.
Right. Awesome. That's very, very nice. Yeah. How can a business develop its blue ocean strategy?
Okay. Define blue ocean strategy for your audience.
Yeah. Whatever is unique, so that, they are able to get in the kind of sales that they want. It's something like a monopoly.
Yeah. So I define blue ocean is that earlier people used to think of, let me define this, that Coke used to think Coke used to think that, what is that? Pepsi was their competition, and Pepsi used to think Coke was the competition.
Right.
This is traditional.
Yes.
Blue ocean is when it starts thinking that everything that goes down the throat of a person is what I want to capture.
Right.
The moment I think from that perspective, and therefore it opens out an absolute new day. That's blue ocean. Okay. Right. So I'm just trying to define it for your audience as much as for this one.
Sure.
So therefore, when you are looking at developing something, if you go into a traditional mold, that this is what I am, this is my customers, this is what is given, this is how I'll do it. So then you have what is standard model, right? It's, nothing wrong with it, but it's what it is. If you are thinking about come at it a different, a blue ocean strategy is making a bank out of an e-commerce company. Yeah. So that's blue ocean strategy, and so on. So and I'm sure if you read the book, you will get much better input, and the authors may tell I am wrong in the way I put it out. Okay, but basically I'm just saying, if you think of yourself as going out farther, broader, and deeper than what normally you could go, that's a blue ocean strategy.
Right.
Okay. So when you do that, and it could be, therefore I gave that elements. If you look at platform, if you look at scale, if you look at financing, if you look at societal pull, yeah, and if you look at customer experience, what am I telling? It will help you get blue ocean strategy.
Right.
Because the new normal is not about saying ki I've got a kirana shop, somebody will come and buy in that kirana shop, and therefore I'm done. As long as I can get a real estate, build a shop, build some shelves, I'm settled for life. No, it's not going to happen. Okay, you got to find the customer, you got to experience them, you got to have a platform. People will they will exist. Kirana shop will today also exist. Why? Because they have some unique business value proposition. Yeah, and that's the thing. How can you develop a blue ocean strategy? Is because you use some of these concepts, okay? But most importantly, because you want to think differently, others will end up building something one big wave will come and take out that castle, yeah,
Mm.
of yours, sand castle that you built. And if you don't want that, you need to build a sustainable business model, which is around blue ocean strategy. This is the way I see it. So,
Right, right. Awesome. Yeah, that sounds really nice. Yeah. So, what strategy can be adopted to mitigate financial risks and the threats that a business is exposed to?
okay. In all this, I think your major audience are finance people, right? I mean, I'm assuming that
Non-finance people is what I thought. I'm actually
non-finance.
looking at more entrepreneurs and
Okay.
startups, business owners.
So it's very important to know who you are addressing.
Yes, yes, yes.
So first and foremost is that the for an entrepreneur, etc. I think the biggest risk that comes is cash.
Yes.
Okay. So and what happens is that when I went to Harvard, I thought I will find something fantastic there. I mean, I know I said, oh my God, I've come all the way 10,000 miles. I'm going to learn. And what they told me, don't run out of cash. So I could have learned this sitting here only. What is that? I have to go all the way to Harvard. But I just realized life doesn't change. The basics doesn't change wherever you go. You
Absolutely.
still can't run out of cash. So I'm just saying, strategy when you build the first principles of that is don't run out of cash.
Mm,
So
mm,
build that principles. Yeah.
mm,
Second is, and this is very important. And when you are entrepreneurs, when you are young people coming into this role, people from the other walks and doing this. Have you ever thought about what could be various scenarios?
mm.
Yeah, scenario planning is a very big term, but for them to say, "Ki, um, I will put it like this: that if something A happens, this is how it will happen. B happens, this is how it will happen. C happens, this is how it will happen." And then you kind of say, "Oh, I always start by saying, build me a 2 by 2. Growth and technology. If growth happens high and technology is fast changing,
Mm.
so then what are the things which will happen?
Right,
And in that scenario, how will you operate? Versus if the growth is low
right,
and technology change is low, then
right,
what happens? And then you kind of can say what can work where.
right.
And when you change, for example, if you say cars will change faster than tractors,
Mm.
same mobility field, because there is it is a niche, it has a very specific application. Therefore, tractors may take more time to change in terms of the level of sophistication which is required.
Mm.
But the level of sophistication in how much it should go below the ground when it is digging
Yes.
has to be very high as compared to any other thing. So it's an important thing to know. So I would ask them to understand scenarios and understand the financial risk in each of the scenarios. Yeah. Second is that if you make any plan, ask that yourself the question: what can go wrong? What can financially go wrong with this?
Mm.
And what you think what can go wrong is the risks.
Mm. Mm.
And then you say, if it happens like this, what will I do? Is my measures. So ask yourself questions, simple questions, as you make that, and then you therefore understand financials. The second one is, once the moment you understand risks, every risk you identify will be a financial risk. Let me assure you, because there are no other risks.
Correct, correct.
Yeah, non-financial risk is only for pride, ego. If it's any other risk, will be financial risk.
Right.
Okay,
Well
you will
said.
convert it into. Okay, the so one of my colleagues once asked somebody that, what is the value you are giving, and the business case didn't add up to the value that he was willing to pay.
Mm.
And the other party tried to convince my friend. He said, brand has a huge value, so you're paying 100 million for the company and 50 million for the brand. That's why you should pay 150 million. And
Mm.
my friend told him that except ego, there is nothing else which doesn't have a financial. So if it's a brand, tell me what does the brand give me, and therefore I'll build it as a financial. model. Yeah.
Right.
So this is the same case. You should think about risks, and everything will turn out, and the threats. Yeah, there will be some which will be in nature of saying a cyclone or a policy change can impact. But any policy change will impact you financially. So eventually you can convert it into financial risk,
That,
or
that,
risk in money terms. The second part is, once you make scenario planning and understand that in a mind, every month end, every period end, you come, because month is a nice thing. Quarter is companies which have got listed and unlisted, they've got a reason to do it quarterly. But month is every month there is a first. So every first of a month or some period like that, you ask yourself this question: has things changed somewhat in the last month?
right.
Have something I'm experiencing which is different? Are four new guys walking into my shop?
Mm,
Am I seeing lesser?
mm, mm.
Okay. And then try to plan according to it. My grandma used to have 14 families to live as a joint family, but that became 27 families whenever there was a vacation.
Wow.
She could handle the 27 families with as much aplomb as she could manage on ongoing basis the 14 families.
Wow.
And even today, I marvel whether we can replicate that model. But she had it all customized, including who will get, this mango has got the centerpiece and the side pieces, right? So if you give one uncle a centerpiece and one a side piece, you know what will happen in the house, including deciding that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So and I think it is very important, therefore, to strategize, and then see the risks involved in giving the centerpiece versus side piece, and make sure you don't do the wrong thing. Yeah. And the last one I want to give, and then I want to end here. Remember, as I think, that there will be lots of balls you will put in the air. You'll have lots of, you will not know everything, you will face things. Please identify the glass balls. They can be in terms of relations, they can be in terms of this, and be careful about them. Some rubber balls you can afford to drop.
Correct.
It'll hurt you a little bit, but that's such is life. But some of the glass balls will shatter. So identify your glass balls which you have got in the air. Every business will have this. So be right. So if Sangeeta is important to me, then I need to make time for her. So it becomes a glass ball at that point of time. Said, oh, I have to give this. You have to do this. Okay. So similarly, they have to identify their important things and give time for it.
Right.
That's the biggest non-financial risk I can identify, but it will convert to big financial risk.
Absolutely. Very well. Beautiful. Beautifully said. Yes. So the last thing, is about strategy and disruption. Like, for example, in the
Hmm.
auto segment, the EV electronic vehicles are disruptors. So how can a business develop its strategy with enough foresight against such disruptions? And how can a business gear up in general for any sort of unexpected disruption?
Yeah. So, I mean, we are living this now, right? I'm trying to run a mobility business, which is kind of, we are trying to do EV in a big way. We are also recognizing that, in some cases, EVs will work, for example, within the city, but intercity is a longer distance not
Correct.
working. So,
Correct.
we have to kind of manage both,
True.
and also realize that over a period, more and more EVs will emerge. So how do we manage this? What kind of investment to make? If I make manufacturing, big term manufacturing, and then put a lot of investments in that. Earlier, I used to say a manufacturing plant will at least last 20 years, right? So now, but if the technology won't last, what will I do with that manufacturing plant? How do we look at those kind of investments?
Correct.
This is what I think we need to constantly think.
Right.
There are no right answers in it, but I will suggest a few in terms of saying, first is, don't make it yourself asset heavy. Make yourself moderate to light in terms of your assets.
Beautiful.
What will therefore it will happen? It will help your adaptability better.
Right.
The second axiom to that is, therefore build partnerships. Don't build monopolies. Okay, so therefore you have to say, I have part ownership of this IP. I work with somebody, I'm not alone.
Right.
See, if I'm an asset light automobile mobility company, then my business associates have the assets. Each of them have an asset, so therefore their risk is low. but I am carrying 100 such people. So I need to have that 100 partnership
mm.
very well done in order for me to progress. So this is the
Correct, correct.
second part. The third part is I have Companies Act, which I knew very well. Now the Companies Act have changed. So what is the good of all the Companies Act that I knew earlier?
Mm.
So the key thing is not to teach Companies Act, but to understand how to interpret Company Act. I'm giving an example. So teach yourself how to interpret, how to analyze, how to research, how
Mm.
to insight.
Right.
Don't teach yourself this is the right choice, because what is the right choice today will be wrong choice tomorrow, and therefore you have to adapt. So teach your skill set as an individual, as a group. You
Mm.
teach yourself is how can I learn, how can I insight.
Mm.
So go and ask.
Right.
Okay, my dad used to say the newspaper you read and tell me what the newspaper said. Where I could not understand, to read was itself difficult. Forget. But he was forcing me to think about how I'll explain things, how I'll see things, how I'll be able to connect the dots.
Mm. Mm. Mm.
Okay, and it takes time, but I did. So similarly, please teach yourself to connect the dots.
Mm.
Yeah, and I think that's the most poignant of my messages. Try to connect the
Yes,
dots.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. Beautiful. Yeah. Connect the dots is like has such a profound meaning. Yes, definitely. Businesses and in life, it's very crucial. Yes. Thank you so much, Partha. That was like wonderful words of wisdom. I thoroughly enjoyed listening to you, and I'm sure the viewers also will be greatly elated to hear all the wisdom from you. Thank you for taking out the time. My pleasure having you on the show today. Thank you so much.